Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to another piccollogaming video. I'm gonna show you one of my decks today, my EXODIA deck Oldschool. Also, remember, no ban list. This is a deck that I play with my kids, so nothing else, just for fun. To start with, we're gonna start with the most important cards of the deck. EXODIA. Remember, these cards are not the original ones. I don't want to play with my original set. These are YGLD cards, EXODIA. I do have the LOB cards, unfortunately not in first edition, but I do have the reprints, which are in my collection. So these are the first 5 cards we play with in our deck, and these are the cards we need to protect. So EXODIA, the Forbidden One. After that I play 3 Royal Magic Library. Effect monster card. This card says every time a spell card is played, you get a counter on this card. And as long as this one is on the field and you can collect 3 spell counters, you can draw an extra card from your deck. Now, my deck exists out of exactly 40 cards. So every spell card that is played gets a counter and this card stays on the field. If I have 3 counters and I remove them, it starts all over again. So as long as this one is on the field, the better it is when spell cards are played, because it allows me to draw more cards. Then we have 2 Magicians of Fate, also not the original one, but I do have the original one, only one unfortunately. These are very expensive. This card has a flip effect. So when it's in face down position in defense and you get the chance to flip it in attack position, you can pull 1 magic card out of your graveyard. So 2 of the Magician of Fate. We have, and these are a must, 3 times Sangan. This card, when it gets destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. So you put this one face down when it gets attacked, and it only has 600 defense. It is sent to the graveyard. You can pull a card out of your deck, and usually that means you can pull EXODIA and it goes straight to your hand. So what you need to do is get these 5 cards as fast as possible in your hand, and you win the duel without even attacking. So 3 of these, purely for being able to pull EXODIA out of your deck. The same goes for Witch of the Black Forest. I know the Sangan is banned and the Witch is banned and a lot of cards are banned, but we don't play with a ban list. At least here in my home. Same effect as Sangan, only this time it has to be a monster with a defense of 600 or 1500 or lower. So it gets its attack, goes to the graveyard, and you can pull a card out of your deck. And it's not randomly, you can look for it and put it into your hand. Then we have some of the big cards in this set, or in my deck at least. Double Spell, it lets me activate a spell card in my opponent's graveyard. Pot of Greed, draw 2 cards from your deck. Swords of Revealing Light, for 3 turns. My opponent cannot attack unless he gets this card from the table. And Monster Reborn. which means I can pull one monster out of my graveyard back into my hands. And usually that's Sangan or Witch. So I can use that effect again. Then we have Premature Burial, same as Monster Reborn, only this one has a cost of 800. Pull a monster out of your graveyard for 800 life points. Upstart Goblin, one time, flip this one up and you can pull a card from your deck. And Monster Reincarnation, discard one card to select one monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So you discard one card out of your hand to pull out another card out of your graveyard. And again, usually that's Sangan or Witch. Unless some of your EXODIA cards are destroyed. Then we have Dark Hole, destroy all monsters on the field, which means if I have Sangan or Witch on the field, or both or more, this card can be very useful to get my cards into the graveyard and search for my EXODIA. Pot of Duality, I can see the top 3 cards of my deck and add one of them to my hand. And the rest is shuffled back into your deck. So I can see which 3 cards are on top of my deck. I can pick one, put that in my hand and shuffle the rest back into my deck. So I play 3 of these, Pot of Duality and a Mystical Space Typhoon, so I can destroy one magic or trap card on my opponent's side of the field without any cost. And I have a defense Scapegoat, which lets me place 4 tokens on the field in defense position, which are nothing. I mean, but it's still a defense, so they can get to my life points, and I can tribute summon if I need to, so I can sacrifice 1 or 2 scapegoats for a higher level monster. Also Graceful Charity, almost the same as Pot of Duality. Draw 3 cards from your deck, then discard 2 cards from your hand. So I can draw 3 cards from my deck, but I need to go discard or throw 2 cards back into my graveyard. So not back into my deck, but in my graveyard. And last but not least, we have the trap cards. 7 Tools of the Bandit. It lets me stop an activation of a trap card for 1000 life points. We have Trap Does Shoot. You can activate this card only when your opponent has 4 or more cards in her hand. Look at your opponent's hands, then select one monster card and return it to its owner's deck. The deck is then shuffled. Expensive common card, by the way. Magic Jammer, discard 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to negate the activation of a magic card and destroy it. So I can negate a spell card played by my opponent. Call of the Haunted, same as Monster Reborn and Premature Burial with no cost. The only exception of this card is if this card is destroyed, so is the monster, and vice versa. And I can only play Call of the Haunted in my opponent's turn. I have 3 times Waboku, so no damage step. They can attack and destroy my monsters, but it can't. They can't attack my life points. And 3 times Jar of Greed, which lets me in my opponent's turn draw 1 card from my deck. So this deck is, I know we can do better, but it's just a home deck for playing with the kids. And that's it for my EXODIA deck, guys. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I see you next time. Bye bye.